The record button has been pressed. Welcome.
Welcome to the Texas Cornhole Show.
This is the Texas Cornhole Show. My name's Jonathan, you're Grant. And this is the year-end review.
Yes, we're finally here.
Yes, we're doing it. It's, what is it, December 28th, maybe? 7th?
It is
6th?
December 27th.
Merry Christmas to all. You know, when I was a kid, I was always sad when Christmas was over. Like the day after Christmas had a certain kind of sadness to it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little sad.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a great holiday, and now I know it's over.
Yeah.
And I gotta like go back into normal life.
Yeah, and then work's coming up, right?
I know.
Dude, my wife went back to work on the 26th. Can you believe that?
Man.
Right back to it. In stride.
I guess I'm a big momentum person.
Yeah.
So I end my momentum for the break, right?
Yeah.
And then it's going to take me a little bit to slow roll back into being an efficient worker.
Yeah.
But I'll be all right. We'll figure it out.
Well, I always take a big break at the end of the year for like the last 10 years of my life, I think. So I usually take between Christmas and New Year's, I'm on vacation. That's the plan. Got a little messed up with the business I had where like the end of the year was always closing deals. But yeah, man, I'm taking the time off. I'm enjoying it. This morning, I get up and my youngest looks at me and he's like, "Is Christmas over?" And I'm like, "No, it's still going on." And then he says, "Well, why is the tree off?" And I'm like, "Let's go fix that." We turn the tree on. We've got a Mickey Mouse train set around the bottom of it. Got that working. He just goes right back to the Christmas vibe.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to extend the Christmas vibe as long as possible.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to find that transition too, where it's like, okay, the Christmas vibe's over, but now we're going into New Year vibe.
New Year vibe.
So,
yeah. When does that happen?
I don't know, man.
Interesting. New Year's. Do you do anything special for New Year's?
No. I mean, usually, I guess usually for me, I don't want to play cornhole.
Yeah.
I don't. I want to just go watch the ball drop with somebody, I guess. My girlfriend, obviously, but, just stay up all night and hang out.
Are you going to make any New Year's resolutions?
Yes, I already got that.
Got them teed up?
Yeah, it's not even resolutions. It's more of a, like, okay, I feel like this past year I've really built on some things, become more of a, hey, I'm going into the garage and I'm working out. I'm doing that, maybe not as consistently as I need to, but definitely more often than I have in years past. So this next year I'm like, okay, let's improve on that some. Let's get in there a little bit more, work out a little harder. Same thing with like work ethic stuff in general, just keep on improving on some things. But yeah, New Year improved me.
Yeah, I'm also going to try to work out more. That's my big New Year's resolution.
Yeah. I care about my health to a degree. I mean, I care about my health. I want to eat what I want.
Yeah.
But that's fine as long as I'm working out, right? If I'm not going to work out, then I need to eat better. But yeah, I mean, we're going to this new year and I'm going to try to improve myself some,
Yeah, me too. I hope everybody else is as well. Everybody has New Year's resolutions. It's maintaining it, right?
Right.
So,
right. It takes, what was it, 3 weeks to create a habit?
I've heard this.
So
1 day straight.
Yeah. So for the people that do go to the gym, gym memberships are tough, especially in the beginning of the year because everyone's trying to do that. But you don't necessarily have to go to the gym and get a gym membership to work out, man. You don't.
Yeah. My plan is just to get out of bed and go for a walk.
Yeah. You can just start with stuff like that.
My bike. Dallas is making a bicycle trail that is a big, huge loop through the entire city.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's incredible. They've been working on it for years and it's finally coming to be. I think 2025 is when it's done. But for my house, I can get on what's called the Skyline Trail and go literally around all of Dallas. White Rock Lake, the Arboretum, down south, I forgot the name of it, and then back to my neighborhood. You circled the entire city of Dallas. I forgot how many miles it is, but it's pretty incredible. So I'm going to try to take advantage of that on my bike.
Yeah. It's, it is, me and Haley would go out on walks at night a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard now when it's cold, but we have a little pond in our neighborhood and stuff. So we'll go walk the neighborhood, walk around the pond, do all that stuff. And that kind of gets you in the momentum of just burning extra calories, right?
As I've gotten older, I get in the gym. I always overdo it and hurt myself. So I have to be careful now. I always try to always beat my last personal record.
Yeah.
And that just hurts an old guy.
Yeah.
But this is the year in review show.
Year in review, baby.
We've got several things to talk about. And we reached out to pretty much everybody who's been on the show before and asked them hey, what were your highlights of the year?
Right.
We're doing end of the year review show. Hit us up with some facts.
Yes. And we were just trying to get some And it was spread some positivity too, get some people thinking about, hey, these are the things I did accomplish this year. These
Yes.
are the things I feel good about.
Trying to stay positive.
So
That's definitely you. I'm down in the dumps, but you're keeping it positive.
it's very easy for me to get negative, so I try my
Yeah.
best to stay
It
positive.
takes work. You have to try to be positive.
Yes, but once you get going,
Yeah.
I promise you, it
It just
becomes
keeps
second
going.
nature.
All
Yeah,
right, let's do
absolutely.
it.
Again, big momentum person.
I love it. So you reached out to Chad. Why don't you take it from there?
Oh yeah, so we're starting off with the leagues, right? So we had Chad Jacobson with Texas Cornhole League on, and we also had Frank Gears with ACO.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Chad, and I was like, "Hey man, what were some of the things you look back on this year that you feel like was a really big deal for TCL? What do y'all feel like was improved? Feel good about?" He said the TCL online store overhaul. The TCL store is now broken up by bag manufacturers, tier 1 and tier 2, and it looks super clean, super easy to use, right? I feel like, and that was Ashton Burton who did that kind of the website work,
Yeah.
which is not, it's not easy.
It
It's
can be
not
very
fun.
frustrating for sure.
It's frustrating
Things
and
don't work. You don't know why.
mentally exhausting. Just it is what it is. But he made that store look awesome. And then the in-person store overhaul. So TCL has had a store for a while now, but this is the first time they have its own dedicated building to just the bags and merch and whatnot. And that store looks fantastic. People have been going to it, giving it great reviews. It looks so good. You can go there, test bags. Yeah, it's a really nice setup. So that was a cool thing that they've added, and hopefully they keep on building on and expanding on. Is the in-person store. Central Texas Signature Series in Waco. Being able to get back out there to Central Texas and get away from all our events being really focused in the Metroplex, I guess.
Okay.
Spreading it out a little bit. And also getting Signature Series scheduled 2 years ahead of time.
That's a big deal.
People get frustrated. It's crazy. People are always frustrated that we'd post or TCL would post Signature Series registration and hotels and all that too close to the event. Well, now with the ability to schedule out these events 2 years
Yeah.
ahead of time, people can really create a schedule around cornhole.
And I would say, I keep saying this on our show. I really do think Signature Series should be destination events, and that people that love cornhole should travel to the DFW Metroplex and come to one of these events. And the farther ahead you can schedule it, the better, especially if you're going to get on a plane and fly down here.
And I think with the evolution of our live feed with Andy doing a fantastic job, I think that more people around the nation will kind of see what the Texas Cornhole League vibe really is and understand it a little bit more and want to come to the events.
Yeah, I mean, people travel to Spencer McKenzie's. They travel to Worlds for ACO and ACL. They should travel to Texas for a SIG event.
Yes.
Especially one at the Irving Convention Center or in Shreveport or whatever the dates they've locked in. You know if Irving's one of them?
I'm sure. Irving's kind of a staple at this point, right?
Yeah, and DFW is so easy to get in and out of. They should be advertising that all over the country.
But it's a environment unlike any other.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any argument against it either.
I say it all the time. TCL puts on the best live events.
And then Chad also wanted to highlight the progress and the improvements they've made to the tier ranking system. Each tier ranking update that's came out this year has gotten a little less comments, a little less negativity, right? And that shows you it's starting to balance out, I believe. I think it's the best it's ever been. They took the human element out of it. So a director saying, I just don't like you, I'm going to bump you up today, So I really like the tier ranking system and the direction it's heading. And I'm
on that point of directors, when you just make it an objective criteria, it takes the pressure off of directors, right? They don't have to create the drama. They don't have to be part of that drama.
Right.
They can just say, hey, it's not me.
Right. And people don't, I guess newer people don't really understand the politics behind the tier ranking system when it comes to like Ryder Cup. I'm not going to use names, but there's definitely directors out there that it at least felt like they would purposely hold certain players back so they'd be really good on the Ryder Cup team,
100%.
right? Have the best Ryder Cup team. And then it's also hard to say, okay, in my region, this player is the best player. He should probably be an A, but you go stick that player in Hunt County that has, in my opinion, the most talent. That player might be a B player in Hunt County,
Right.
So I think the tier ranking system has made huge progress.
And it also distinguishes TCL from all other leagues.
Yes.
No league has a ranking system as nearly, not even close.
If you're an advanced player in ACL, you can't go play with a competitive player in a advanced competitive event. They don't have that.
Like an A, B, or
Like a
BC.
BC,
Yeah,
yes.
I hear you.
So where TCL gives you that flexibility, right?
Yep. And there, was a tournament here recently, and it was a BC, and I had a blast, and it was very competitive.
Yeah,
You were in it?
yes.
Yeah.
And it was fun for me too because I get to play with Raymond in a tournament where are we outmatched a little bit? Yeah, Raymond being a D player playing against a C player. Yeah, it's a little different than me playing a B because a B player
Yeah.
is still going to put bags in the hole, right? So, but being able to compete in that form and having a D player be able to play with an A player, it's just a great environment, right?
Yeah, it's very cool. And you are seeing it in non-stamp leagues with combined SPR type tournaments, but TCL has done a great job. And I think they're like the first ones to really do that, to
Oh
create
yeah,
that ranking
they've been doing
system.
it forever.
And the new way they're doing it, yeah, they keep improving it. Tip of the cap to
Yeah.
TCL on that one.
So, but yeah, that's the Texas Cornhole League highlights.
Okay, well, I reached out to Frank Gears. He was on the show, the dad of cornhole, as I like to think of him, the originator of all this stuff. So I like to give him the respect he deserves for starting all of this. And he has three. He actually wrote me an email, and I'm not going to read it verbatim, but he has three highlights that for the year for him, and it's really like the innovations that he's done and the things that he's done to move the game forward. The first, which is my absolute favorite, is the skins game. This has to become more popular in cornhole in general.
I can see it going that way too.
Basically, every round is like the final round of a match. So, just to explain what skins is, you get points by winning the round. It doesn't matter how many points you get that round. If you win the round, you get 1 point. So, there are all kinds of examples where you might just, if you're playing a normal cornhole bag or cornhole game, you might just put the bag on the board to give up two and survive to continue to compete. But in skins, you have to go for the shot. You have to go for the and one or the airmail drag or the ridiculous push shot. You have to try. Otherwise, you're giving up a point and you gave up the round or gave up the frame. You never just think, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to give up the frame, because it's just like the end of a match where it's 19-20 and you have to hit the shot to survive.
Right. To add to your point, the reason I like it so much, it takes the pressure off of how many points you give up in a frame. I can just have a horrible frame and give up an 8 spot, but I'm just moving on to the next round.
Just one round.
I gave up one.
That's right.
It's not a big deal. I can be super aggressive. And I
Yep.
think it also it kind of I know I haven't played it enough to say that it kills the strategy, but the idea of playing bag for bag is kind of stupid in
Kind of
this sense.
stupid. Absolutely.
You want to score, and if you want to just keep on throwing 12s, I mean, I guess you can do that, but for me, it's like a dream. I can just block every frame. If I lose, it's fine. I'm gonna make you struggle.
Oh, I think you would excel in the skins format. And I mean, the more I think about it and the more I've sort of played it, but not in a tournament yet, I think it's the better way to play cornhole, because it makes every single frame more exciting than it's every single frame is like the last frame of a game.
Right, and you don't get those 40. You're probably not going to get those 40 frame games, Sammy, Justin, right?
That's right.
Where y'all are crazy talented. I'm falling asleep over here,
Yeah.
So, and I know, but the way they added that, right, is if you wash, those points keep on
They
stacking
carry.
each other.
They carry.
So, you go 20 frames in of washing 12s,
Then it's whoever wins the next frame wins the whole match.
and you're like, oh man.
And I think he's only playing to 7. It might be 9, but I think it's you play to 7. And I've been looking. I don't know how to run it on Scoreholio. I need to figure that out, because I'd like to have a tournament here that includes a skins match, so you can play the regular game and then we're going to do skins afterwards for everybody who wants to try it out, because it really is a fun way to play cornhole. And if you're in ACO and you are an ACO pro, you get to play for free, and you get paid on how many skins you win. So the match might be over, but if you got 3 skins, you get $300 or something like that. So he pays all of his pros to play this skins game. And honestly, when I was watching it, I don't think some of these pros fully understand the strategy.
Well, you're also talking about ACO, right, which is kind of notorious at this point for having players that are skinny, thin bags, right?
Oh yeah.
Bigger bags that then are going fast, hole for hole.
Yeah.
Right. So the concept of skins doesn't really work for them, right?
Like throwing a blocker.
Yeah. They don't
Well,
do that.
They're hot pros right now are the Hertz, and they play a block and flop. They're not their kids.
Oh, I feel like that's every year with ACO though. The guy that ends up being on top are the guys that block,
That's a good point. You might be right about that.
except for maybe back in the day Matt Guy. But
Yeah.
he's still crazy air mailer, right?
Well, Ellis was the king of cornhole last year, and he's kind of a do-it-all kind of guy, but he's
Yeah.
hole for shoe. He doesn't miss, but he's got a roll or a
Right.
flop.
Well, he has stuff beyond just he's not throwing a fast, skinny bag, right? He's
Yeah.
going hole for hole with a bag that can do the other stuff too.
Yeah. So the skins game, ACO highlight of his year. He's got two more. He also has created the I'm trying to figure out what he calls it, adaptive cornhole, and this is where if you're in a wheelchair and you can play cornhole, and anybody else who wants to play with you has to also be in a wheelchair. So you had to make a few rule adjustments about where somebody has to like line up the wheelchair before they throw.
Lock it.
Yeah, but like let's say your kid's in a wheelchair and you want to play a cornhole tournament with them, you can do that. You just have to
Right.
sit in a wheelchair too when you
Right.
play.
Which is a really cool concept for being able to just get everyone involved, right?
Yeah. Adaptive Cornhole by ACO is pretty cool. And they launched it this year, and they had a couple of tournaments that have already been pretty successful. And you got to love the fact that, I don't know who had that idea first. Like,
So do they provide the wheelchairs?
they
at the
must.
courts?
That's my
They have to,
thought.
right?
Yeah. They got a couple wheelchairs if you need them. Or maybe you just have to throw from a chair. Just sit down in a chair
Maybe.
and throw.
Maybe.
But he was saying that as they had their first tournament, people were really working out how to orient the wheelchair as they were throwing. You would think you'd be straight on, but not everybody was doing
No,
that.
I would be probably shifted to my left a little bit so I can get my arm out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh,
I gotta adapt.
Adaptive cornhole, yeah. And then finally, they're moving to Europe. So ACO Europe is happening. They've got an ACO Europe major in Manchester, England, thanks to our partnership with UKCL and Daniel Lilly. So they will have ACO Europe, which I understand going to Europe is kind of the big thing. I noticed recently ACL is also going to Europe.
Right, NFL, going to Europe, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing that's confusing, or I guess not confusing, that is going to be kind of a hurdle, you got to get bag manufacturers out there in Europe, right?
Yes.
Because shipping bags out to Europe ain't cheap.
It's ridiculous. You have to fill out customs forms. I've been doing it. It's hard. I don't like to do it. I actually took it down. I stopped shipping bags to Europe because it's so freaking expensive. I still ship to Canada, but
That's not overseas, a little bit different, right?
it's still expensive, bro. And you have to fill out customs forms, which isn't that big of a deal. I mean, it's not that hard, but it's just an additional step, and it's very expensive for the consumer. But I found that a lot of consumers are kind of, are happy to pay. Like it's $200 by the time you get them in your hands for like $100 set of bags.
Yeah.
Or if you want you'll see if you look up.
Yeah, but what about board makers?
Forget about it.
That'd be, well, hey, man, the game is expanding, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, cheers to Frank Ears. Thanks for reaching out and sharing your 2023 highlights with us. And that brings us to ACL.
Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah, ACL. Yes. No, you're
ACL.
right. ACL.
Yeah, so we really don't have a contact at ACL.
We don't. I know some of those guys, relationship can be whatever the relationship is, but, that's water on the bridge at this point.
Are we shadow banned? Or just straight
I
up
don't
banned?
think you are. I might be.
I might be. I mean, I was part of that litigation.
No, I mean, no. I probably need to personally reach out to Chase Hunter.
Yeah.
Him and I don't have a bad relationship by any means. It was actually cool listening to him commentate on a couple of my ACL games back at Worlds.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool deal. But he's probably the guy to talk to. But if there's anyone else out there
Yeah.
that just knows what's going on with the ACL here in this Southwest Conference,
Yep.
we'd really appreciate some information because, we're this is the Texas Cornhole Show.
Yes. All things Texas and cornhole.
All thing Texas and cornhole. We want to grow the game of cornhole because at the end of the day, if we grow the game, it helps everybody.
That's right.
ACO has some work cut out for them, but
big time.
But we definitely just want more people playing cornhole.
Yeah. So, and I'd like to cover ACL more and more in depth. So I just think that if there's anybody out there that wants to kind of point me in the right direction. For example, we've been doing the drafts for SIG Series. I think it'd be fun to do a draft for this upcoming Texas Open.
Yes.
But I'm not sure who's registered for it and where I find that out.
Right. And I guess I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
that's kind of the issue. Like, where do I find that stuff out?
Right. And I agree with you. They have the fan zone, but it's still pretty confusing to use, right? But the cool thing about ACL is that their primary focus, their primary concern is the pros. They're not like TCL, and they're not worried about the day-to-day players. They're not worried about the advanced and lower. They're only worried about the pros. So we want to be able. Those are the guys that are getting on TV, right? The pro players. We want to be able to draft those guys and give some people some information on those pro players, and there's nowhere for us to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like Sammy's going to be there just because he said he's going to be there on social media. Is he
Right.
registered already?
I
Where can I look at the registrations?
right.
With a SIG series, we just go to Scoreholio. We know who's registered.
Exactly.
So that'd be nice to know. And then also it'd be fun to have a point of contact at ACL, just like, hey, what were your highlights for 2023? So
Right.
that's a goal moving forward, is to get somebody over at ACL to, be a point of contact for us.
Right. Absolutely.
And then you want to talk about how there's overlap. The ACL Texas Open just announced
Yes.
like a week ago,
Yes.
and it just happens to overlap with a signature series.
Yes.
Now, number one, on purpose,
I think not.
it just happened to be that way.
I think not because I'm approaching it from kind of the same way TCL approaches their day to day. They're not actively watching to see what dates ACL has going on. They're not actively watching what pros may or may not be at their events. They got so many things going on for just themselves. It's hard to pay attention to what another league is doing.
Right.
At least that's how a successful league should be operating, in my opinion.
Only focus on what you're doing and who cares about everybody else.
Now, do I think it can end up being a mistake? Maybe. They're not going to get the attendance from this Metroplex.
Yeah, I made a comment on social media. Like, I think they should be watching other leagues, and I think they should have avoided the TCL Signature Series because in this area specifically, which is North Texas, let's call it, right, from Dallas to the whole northern part of Texas, from Dallas all the way to Lubbock, all the way to Shreveport, let's call it, which is not Texas, I know. But that's TCL country, and everybody loves it. And they're going to choose a SIG event over anything else because, as I've said many times, those Signature Series events are the best cornhole events, hands down. So, I mean, I think that you should, if you're the ACL, you should be kind of looking at the calendar and, hey, maybe we can get a different date that doesn't conflict. If we really want to bring a lot of players to an event, we need to not schedule it. Also, they scheduled it at on the same weekend, but like a week ago, like 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and there's people that were burying them online for that too.
How do you you got to schedule your life around that kind of stuff? You got to get a plane ride if you're not in Texas. You got to get a hotel. You got to figure out who's taking care of your kids or your dog when you're out of town.
Hey man, they're pulling in plenty of money, so I'm surprised they don't have more people in the building working for them trying to get these things scheduled out right.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. But on the other hand, the positives. Hey, they're coming to Texas. We're going to have an ACL Open in Texas. So if you want to be part of the ACL league and start working on your pro status or getting more points as a pro or whatever it is you want to do.
Well, it doesn't really matter though.
It doesn't?
For the Metroplex players, it does. The Dallas Metroplex players, it doesn't matter to go to the Open and get those points because you're not getting enough regional and local points for it to make a difference on whatever ranking you're looking for.
So do you become a pro if you get enough points, like playing regionals?
I think they have a couple spots. I could be wrong, but yeah. I mean,
there really aren't very many events around here that are ACL.
There's none, 0.
Yeah,
and the ones that have tried to pop up, they don't work.
They don't work out. Is it hard to be a regional director? I've never looked it up.
No.
I guess it just shows how ingrained or how sturdy a hold Texas or TCL has on this area.
Right. When you go to big events for ACL, you're not going to. When you can have a better event here in the Metroplex or here in the state, max of 5-hour drive.
Right.
Why would you go to a national, right? Why would you go to an Open when they're not as good of events? They're not really focused on the amateur players. So why wouldn't you play TCL?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could go arguments back and forth. What I just realized though is that you must be stoked because all the pros are going to be, you're not going to have to beat Sammy and Logan and Justin
Right.
and all those really good cornhole
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
So
So
this is gonna be yours. I'm gonna draft you first, bro.
no, you're not. And
If I
it's
get first pick, I'm drafting you
and I
first.
am
You're
not
throwing
gonna.
pretty good right now.
I was, but dude, I haven't. I gotta put some work in between now and SIG, but I'm looking forward to it. I hope I make a really good run, but there's still a ton of talent, man.
There's a lot of talent, but that's gonna affect our draft big time.
It is, but there's it's you still got Chase Lester.
Yeah.
You still got Levi Haddock.
Well,
You
Chase and
still got
Kale are paired up,
you still yeah.
right? They're
Um,
gonna try to run it back.
you got Preston and Cahill partnered up.
Ooh.
They were in the state championship.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's plenty, I mean, plenty of talent still on the board. And
Well, sure, but what I'm saying, when we were drafting the last draft, we were like, okay, Sammy and Justin,
yeah,
right? They're gone.
yeah.
Well, they should be. Do we know if Justin's? I know Sammy said on social media he's going to the Open.
Justin's the only one I don't know about. And with him having, stake in Olympus and him, with the situation he's in with that bag company, he might be convinced to play in the Signature Series.
Huh? All right, Justin, don't do that. That's a mistake, dude. That'd be I think that'd be a mistake if he decided to play in a Sig Series over an Open that's like down the street. It's like a couple hours away.
Yeah, but Justin's not playing this game he's playing the game for different reasons than other people. He's playing to be a pro. He's playing to be on TV. He's playing to make money.
Right.
And if you're doing those things, you would go to the Open, right?
Yeah.
So I would think that he'd be going there.
Yeah. And aren't the payouts bigger?
For the top division.
Okay.
I think TCL pays out more money overall, but again, with the focuses being different, ACL is paying more to that top division.
Okay, so you think the ACL didn't schedule it on top of a SIG series on purpose, that they just are doing what they can, and that's just a coincidence. I think that they should have looked and avoided it. They didn't. But it's cool that we're going to have an Open here in Texas, and it's pretty soon. So, and I know a lot of players that I've talked to, like Oscar, is going to play in singles. So,
yeah, there's a couple that said that on Sunday they're going to travel out to that event and play singles.
which is pretty rad. You could do both.
Yeah.
You can do both.
It's going to be exhausting.
Dude, I know. When I'm done with the SIG series, the last thing I want to do is throw a cornhole.
I know.
And
I know.
And now you're going to go compete against pros.
I'm looking forward to my me and Haley get this pizza down the road, and we get it every time we come back from SIG, and it's delicious.
Where is it?
It is in Cattle Mills. It is called. I always call it the Mona Lisa's,
Sounds good.
and it's delicious. It's the best pizza I've ever had, every time.
All right. We also have Trey and Johnny gave us some
Our voices.
updates. The voices of TCL, the guys who are always on the mic giving us awesome commentary to go with Andy's badass live feed.
Yes.
That really does make the memory better because you can go relive it whenever you want. You talked to Johnny and I talked to Trey. Why don't you start it with Johnny?
So I reached out to Johnny. It's like, hey man, again, what were your highlights? What's your deal? And he said that his highlight for the year was being able to commentate on his wife's game and seeing her win win a Signature Series tournament, get a plaque, do her thing.
Yeah.
And she had a great time doing it too. That was one of the more fun games to watch. And you can tell she's been around Texas Cornhole League for a while because she let loose and had fun. And he said that was his highlight of the year, being able to commentate on that game.
And if I am able to do it, we will put the TikTok overlaying us talking right now of Betty just having the time of her life. Throwing with one of the bag makers, John Terry,
Yes.
the other brother of the bag brokers. And they won. I didn't know they won.
Yeah.
Badass. Good for them. Congratulations to Betty.
Yeah.
That must have been really cool for Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny said it's probably the most proud he's ever been. And rightfully so, man. Being able to, watch your wife have fun and throw great and win, it has to just, you might be more excited than she is in that moment.
Yeah. And that was one of my favorite, that might be my favorite cornhole TikTok of the year.
Yes.
It was just, I'm stressed out when I play cornhole. Betty was having so much fun, man.
Right.
Dancing and smiling and laughing.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Shout out Bag Season for capturing that.
Oh, that dude is doing great. He's creating all the good social media content.
Yes.
What, Samuel Martinez?
Yes.
Is that his name?
Super talented, man.
Dude, he's kicking ass. He's inspiring me to do better with my stuff. All right, so I talked to Trey, and he was like, "Well, I don't have any highlights. I just have controversial stuff." And I'm like, "Well, that's okay. You can
If that's what you want to highlight,
if that's
all
your
right.
highlight. That's cool." And I'm gonna go through them quick because I know we're trying to stay positive. Number one, pros stealing the show, right? At TCL events, it's basically the Justin and Sammy show. That's what it's been for the last several SIG series. So it's still the case, but not this upcoming one because they're going to be at the Open.
On the most recent one doubles, that's, hey, chasing the Kale, man.
Chase and Kale got it done. Non-pros winning.
Yes.
They stole the show.
I would say the tier ranking system is working when you see the non-pros win.
Good point. Non-uniform bag standards. That's something that, I've groaned about, but TCL is kind of fixing it and getting it in place. But, up to date and even including the 25 stamp, there's bags that are just out of spec. New TCSM and people bitching. Yeah, people complaining about the score metrics. That's a bit of a highlight. But we kind of covered that. Like, it's smoothing out.
Right.
It's smoothing out.
Right. And the guys that are complaining about that stuff, initials BH from East Texas, he doesn't even play like that, and he's over here complaining about tier ranking system. It's like, what is the deal with these middle-aged men not wanting to compete? They always complain about people getting participation trophies, and there's guys literally crying basically about not getting a participation trophy.
Yeah.
Why am I ranked this high? Because you're better than most of these players. Well, I should be down low so I can win more.
Yeah, so I can win all the tournaments. If I'm not winning, I'm not happy.
Right.
Yeah, well then get
Cry
better.
about it, man.
Get better.
Yeah.
Go win Open.
And they hate that response.
I mean, that's the truth. Like, if you really do want to win, you got to practice every day and beat the pros, or you have to go win an Open. I think almost by definition, if you win anything but Open, you're a sandbagger.
Right. And that's how people feel, at least. And again, with the TCL's format and the opportunity TCL gives you to play in these variety of tournaments with those tier ranking systems, changing the format.
Oh yeah,
you have plenty of chances to go win. You just don't want to leave your backyard.
That's and whatever. You can't win them all, buddy. Try or get better. If you want to win, get better. Well, I'm not going to play anymore. Okay. And then they come and play anyway. Like, I don't know who you're talking about specifically, but all the people that complain they still show up.
Yes.
And he also mentioned formation of new teams due to the tiers. So that happened a lot, right? Where, like, I know Logan and Johnny were going to play all year, but they can't anymore because the elites got bumped. Caleb Franklin was going to play with Kobe Alley, but they can't because Kobe got bumped. So a lot of teams kind of got broken up with the.
And I love that.
With the TCSM stuff.
I've always been that way, though. Since I started playing cornhole, I always played with different players.
You've always been like that. Every SIG you play with a new guy.
Yeah, Josh Murdoch wanted to lock me up for an entire season. I was like, man, I really want to play with this person, this person, this person. Sammy tried to lock me up for a whole season. Man, I want to play with this person, this person, this person. Yes, I agree. We could win it every single time. At least I feel that way. With that being said, though, I think it says more about me as a cornhole player if I can win with different people every single time.
Right.
So I like the tier ranking system, man. I think it's improved a lot.
All right, cool. All right. And well, that's all I got out of Trey. And I don't want to try to, he wasn't just being negative. It was just like, when I look back at the year, what I think about are kind of like these things that might not be just positive. They might be a little controversial. But yeah, Trey does a great job with his commentary. I did hear a rumor that he might not be doing the commentary as much next season.
Why?
Family, working harder, stuff like it's getting to be a bit of a chore. So I think we've only got him for the rest of this season. I think. I don't know if this is true.
We'll see.
So enjoy it.
He's going to get his one good announcing moment. And we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, it's like, I can't quit you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, again, with Trey too, I mean, this past season with the live feed and the commentating, it's improved so much.
I think he brings his own computer, dude. Like, he works hard.
Yeah.
One of the reasons he does such a good job is he puts in the work. He preps.
Johnny has speaking of working hard, Johnny in his computer has basically a Rolodex of player information, where they're from, where they play at, what kind of bags they throw. I mean, he gets all this information on players. That way he can, when they pop up on the main stage, he can commentate on them. Yeah,
that's one of the things that, just talking about the year in review, I think, I don't know if it was last year, but, not Andy did a live feed, and then everybody realized how important Andy is for a solid live feed. But just the live feeds being great, and you could rely on them. And they are, if people don't know this, the cameras that are collecting that information are like top notch. Like, I can't compete. Like, the cameras we have here at AJ's are nice. Andy's equipment is top notch. That is crispy, clear, sharp photography, videography that he's doing at those events. And you can zoom in and it's still pretty clear. digital zoom. So anyway, uh, year in review, the live feeds at TCL have been pretty legit. All right. After this, we have Raymond. He's the guy that owns AJ's. I asked him, what were your highlights? And he's like, opening the doors, getting this place going, actually having people show up, having some big tournaments here. And I thought that was pretty cool. And also like moving forward, but we got the live streams working here.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, we're always going to have live streams. And people are already using those live streams.
Yes.
They're getting videos from them. They're sharing them. They're going back and watching them.
Center got to put a TikTok up of one of them.
Yeah.
The slot falling back and dragging in. That was a sick clip.
Miguel Meza?
Yes.
Is that the right name?
Yes.
That dude has been winning at AJ's every time he shows up.
I know.
But yeah, dude, the live feed at AJ's is definitely turning into one of my little passion projects, and I'm diving in pretty deep.
The cameras are legit, man. Being able to turn out and see the actual environment, not just the main stage.
We got 2 more that are here in the building. I just haven't set them up yet. So we're going to have better straight top down views from the board. So we're going to have some really good board views. And then that is also going to give us the opportunity to create even more views for the people at home. So the live feeds have been getting way more likes and views than our show does. And we're just going to keep cranking out that content. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. And if you come here and play at AJ's, you get on the main court and go watch your games later. And if you're not able to make it out, you can watch some quality cornhole.
Absolutely.
With some improving commentary, I hope.
Yes.
All right. So after that, we have the bag makers. So we reached out to the bag makers and it was not positive, Grant.
No, not many bag makers that we talked to had something good to say.
It was like, well, I made it.
Yeah, I'm still here.
I survived. I was able to survive.
It was more negative than that, and then finally we get someone to at least say, "I'm just happy I'm here."
I'm just happy to be here. Yeah,
and
just to cover that briefly, the thing with bag makers, it's a saturated market, right? There's so many bag makers. The barrier to entries, it doesn't exist. $1,000, sewing machine, heat press, EcoTank printer for your dye sublimation. Boom, you're off to the races. And there are a lot of bag makers, and it's very difficult to get a foothold. It's very difficult to be profitable
because there's different approaches, and you can't just make a bag and put it out there on the shelf and you think it's going to take off and sell and you're going to be a successful bag company. There's a lot more work that goes behind the scenes than what people give it credit for, and some people, again, there's different approaches. Some approaches is, well, I'm going to pay the pros to throw my bags and have them rep it, so I don't have to do that work. Okay, understandable. Go that route. They have some that just focus on their region around them, getting those people to buy their bags, and hopefully it spreads out from there. Okay, see how that goes. And I mean, it's just a different approach for different companies, and I guess some of you can't be a bag maker full time and make a really good living. I mean, you said it before, it's a teacher wage at points, right?
Every bag maker for the most part is subsidized by something else.
Right.
Full-time job, a wife, something else. Nobody in the TCL bag market is making bags as their primary source of income and benefits. Like health insurance is expensive. There's always somebody else, like a wife in my case, or savings, or there's always something. It's not a TCL. I think in ACL, of course, some of those bag makers, it's a full-time gig. Like your Reynolds, your Ultra,
But you're still talking about the top 10%?
Yeah.
So bag makers get frustrated, but again, we're trying to stay positive on this whole thing.
Yeah, well, we should just say we did reach out to bag makers, and no specific bag maker really gave us anything positive to say, and we're not going to call out the ones that were saying shitty things, right?
Yeah, no.
But we could talk about our own stuff and be positive. So
right.
For me, Big D, I'm very excited about my new future here at AJ's Sports. So the Big D shop's going to be here at AJ's. I've got a lot of new bags in the queue. And on top of that, I also kind of dig my new machine. I got it this year, which gives me some
legit, man.
It's a legit machine, and it gives me some opportunities to make bags that are, differently made than other bags or other bag companies. Most people don't do it the way I do it.
And I think I might have touched this on before, but having the machine you have, it's expensive.
Yeah,
Can't beat around the bush on that. But you're making a better quality bag than most of these bag manufacturers.
I think so.
You know, you having the laser cut your edges, and that way it prevents fraying, right?
Hmm.
Um, Consistency. It's going to be consistent. It's going to do the same thing
Every
every
single
single
time.
time.
It's the gap between the seam and the laser cut is always identical, as opposed to if the laser cuts it and then you sew it, you'll have a little difference. But I'm able to control that really well. Also, the machine's really good. Like it makes a very nice seam. The tension's never an issue. Where in the prior machine I had, it was not did not make as nice of a seam. And I've also programmed that machine really well. I've got like 100 programs in it now, which is way too many. But the point is, I'm able to make really cool bags really quickly, high quality. So for me, that getting that specific machine and learning about how to use it, I've had to fix it like 3 times. Hopefully, I can get it back up and running here at AJ's. But it's gonna be so fun. Like if I can pull this off, I'm gonna be able to have a bag shop right here, have this top-notch facility to throw bags in, have a live feed streaming whenever I want. It's like cornhole mecca, cornhole dream for me. So if I can continue on this path, um, I'm that's pretty exciting for me.
Right.
That could be awesome.
Yes, I think so too.
And oh yeah, also finding a bunch of new materials, like being able to locate like the original Pro Advantage carpet was fun. Being able to find the Viper R carpet and actually getting it in my hands and making bags with it. Um, Finding new materials that nobody else made, like that Maryland bag.
Yes.
First guy to make a bag like that.
Yeah.
It's been picked up. Other guys are making it now. There's a couple other materials that nobody else was using, but whatever. It was just fun for me to find the material stuff. And then that's all I got. You want to talk about center highlights?
Um, I really enjoyed this year for center cornhole. You know, there's definitely some low points, definitely some struggle points. Being able to get through that is obviously awesome. But for me, I really like the skill I picked up in figuring out the AI bag designs. You know, being able to get this image right here for the sloth, and being able to put a background behind that and work do the fonts and stuff and make a cool bag out of that. Same thing with this pride right here. You know, being able to create that design and find those keywords and being able to take something that's in my head, right, and be able to produce it on a computer screen.
Yeah, you got pretty good at it. And it's not just. I mean, people seem to think that using AI is like lazy, or it doesn't. It's not. It's a cop out, I get it, or an easy way to do things. But the truth is, it's a tool that you have to learn how to use.
Right.
And you've done a good job. And like that one, I think is super good. This one, the R,
Yeah, the Pride R.
the Pride R, that is a good looking bag.
Yeah,
And
I think so too. And there's definitely lazy ways to do it. There's
don't get me wrong,
you can definitely, a 6-fingered wizard might pop up on a bag, right?
they did fix it after somebody pointed it out. But that is
They
a
didn't
dead
fix it,
giveaway.
they just acted like they did it on purpose.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's their playbook. It's hilarious.
right. So
But that is
yeah,
a dead giveaway on AI is the hands.
Yes.
Hands are always a little messed up.
yes. So yeah, I mean, the doing the AI stuff and learning that skill is highlight for me. The center circuit, seeing my, vision kind of come to life on that over the summer, being able to go to all of our qualifiers and stretch out all the way from, here in the Metroplex, starting here at AJ's, being able to go out to Longview, being able to go out to Odessa, Abilene,
Yeah.
being able to go up north to Vernon. I mean, we were spread out and doing that every weekend, dedicating our summer to producing that event. And the only money we made off that, I say made loosely, was our merch sales at the events. Everything else went back to the directors, and we even paid out more than what we paid out, pretty much more than what we brought in, because we also, to the lower bracket, gave out merch, how it kind of should be.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that, and being able to come back to AJ's for the final event and do the draft and do that whole experience was really cool for me.
Are you going to do it again?
I am going to think about it. It's just one of those deals where if I'm dedicating my whole summer to it, I kind of want to be able to enjoy my summer too.
Right.
And it's not like I saw crazy benefits out of it to justify it, but at the same time, it was a fun deal. I'd like to be able to do it again. I probably just need more help to be able to pull that off again. But hey, the template's there, so it wouldn't be as hard as the first time.
Yeah.
So So yeah, center circuit was really cool for me. Really cool deal to do. The center toy drive, being able to have that and have as many participants as we did, and be able to being able to have over $3,000 worth of toys to give back to the Mansfield mission and help out the community.
Yeah, that was a cool event.
Um, that's something Center always wanted to do, is be able to give back some of their profits, because we had the toy drive, and then we all at Center also, I think, about $700 put back into the added to the toy drive, so we could give back too. And that's moving forward. We're going to be doing that every single year. We're looking to give back. So yeah, the Center toy drive. These the player editions, the Center player editions, and seeing that starting to come more to life. I've been working on it a little bit, starting out with Brandon Greger, the legend, and Johnny Seymour, the wizard, and coming out with their bags, and then it led to the Phenom, the Whiteout, and now you have 10 more or 9 more editions after that for this year, and being able to have a jersey with a matching bag design. The bag design's coming out at this next SIG. That's hard to pull off.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how hard it is to pull off you got to make a lot of things happen. You got to have the talent there, obviously. Then you got to have the jersey design and the bag design not only look awesome and the players want it, but to have those match bag and jersey is hard to do, and do it at the same time. Really excited to see that come to life. And I'm really excited to see these Center players start advertising their edition, their brand, because that's kind of where Center wanted to be from the start, was being able to give these cornhole kids something they can kind of build up and make something of themselves in the cornhole world. So I'm excited to keep that going and keep on adding to that, and hopefully my Center guys can enjoy that process.
Yeah, that was a big hit on social media when everybody was getting their boxes in the mail.
Yes.
Everyone was stoked, and it was a good look.
Yes, Baron and Les did a great job putting those boxes together too. And then we got some more cool stuff that's going to hit social media with that, but I'm excited for it. And then I guess the last thing for me on the bad company stuff is just getting to do a weekly deal here at AJ's. Tuesdays have gone great. I know we might have a day change coming up. You and I got to figure that stuff out, but being able to come up here every single week, get some players up here, show off my bags. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, me too, man. I think this has been a lot of fun. Another thing to talk about with bag makers in the year, fill. The fill, and the primary supplier of fill went through some issues and some problems with their manufacturing, and basically started creating a very inconsistent product, and it hit all the bag makers differently. But what we're seeing, I think the end result of it is blend fills. People are realizing you have to blend a fill.
Right.
You can't just trust and believe that one manufacturer is going to make the same fill over and over again. It always changes. It's not a precision product. And so from the player's perspective, I think it's a huge benefit.
Oh yeah.
Like the blend fills are awesome.
Yes.
Like the bags I've been making lately with the blend I'm doing, so much better than the bags I made in the past. And shoot, you saw it with BG and their Wizard L. They had to I mean, let's not talk about what really happened there. I forgot. I don't remember what the fiction is and what actually happened, but whatever. They have a whole new bag called the Wizard L. That's not a Wizard L.
Right.
That's like the light version, but it's just a blend fill.
Right. Essentially, ACL told bag manufacturers, hey, you can come out with an L and an
H
for light and heavy,
and maybe an R for regular.
An R for regular, which I hate that, by the way, because for the Viper R to already be out there and then you're going to steal their letter.
Yeah.
TCL's done that to me before, and it's, boy. I do not like people stealing my ideas like that. But yeah, BG, whatever they're going to put out is going to be a successful bag.
Yeah, well, I guess they have a whole new bag that's not a Wizard. It's a Wizard L, but it's just blend fill. But the point I was trying to make is that the issues that we had with fill turned in to be a better thing for players, I think, because now people are really focusing on different blend fills. Bag makers are realizing they have to blend to keep their bags consistent.
Right.
Because if you don't, you're going to be pumping out bags that are too thin or even too fat if it comes in light. Right. I mean, that stuff changes. Like the filler changes. So in the bag making world, end of the year, this year, I would say, blended fills is probably the biggest thing that happened this year, right? There was that Viper R carpet that came out. I think it's super great. I love that carpet. And then blend fills, I think it became a lot more prevalent in the bag maker
Right.
world. In
Y-
addition to having like a million new bag makers.
Yeah. I mean, we're only going to, I don't think we're going to see any more bag manufacturers come in unless it's just someone comes in with a ton of money and does a ton of marketing. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot of manufacturers drop off over this next year.
Yeah, maybe. I'm really curious. I thought that though this year, and more companies signed up for ACL than they had the
Where
last year.
it's the market's going to crash.
It should. It's
So
a bubble.
so yeah, I mean the fill there's so for the people that don't know is that basically the main place where people were getting what we call flat fill. The guy retired that made that fill
I heard he died.
or he died. Same thing.
A little
A
different.
little different. But not funny.
It's not funny at all.
So they don't have anyone else trained up on that machine to be able to make that consistent product because it's so hard to make that
And
consistently.
what the guys tell me over there over and over again, it's not a precision product. And it's take it or leave it, by the way. You pay for it, and it's minimum 20 grand, 22 grand. And then you get whatever the fuck it is they make. And if you complain about it, they're like, sorry, it's a take it or leave it product. It's coming in dusty. It doesn't stick together as well as it used to. It almost turns into a little chalk.
Yeah.
It's coming in pot marked. Like I think it's a cavitation problem. Bubbles are forming as it's being made, so they have got little holes in them. Um, I mean, it's kind of a mess. So people are looking at other fills, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
And then blending it. You can take that stuff and blend it with a lighter fill, which is what I'm doing. I'm mixing it with a small little less dense ball, and it makes a great filler.
Right.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's forcing bag manufacturers to adapt.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll see. What should happen is what I think should happen is a pelletizer company is going to emerge just for cornhole.
Yeah.
They're gonna be
At
making
some
fill.
point that will pop up.
Yeah. I shouldn't have used that term. I'm not, hey John, edit that out because that's my idea. I don't want people to rip me off.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's move on to players.
Okay.
All right, cool. So all the players that have been on our show, I reached out to them and I was like, hey man, what is your like highlight of the year? You know, hit me up with a highlight. And I want to share it on the show for everybody that listened. And I'll start off with somebody who's quickly becoming my favorite ACL pro, like kind of by far, Jeremiah Ellis. This dude is an absolute stud. Has the highest winning percentage in ACL right now of
Yeah,
all
I saw
ACL pros.
that. Yeah.
That. Yeah, dude, the dude's a beast. And so I hit him up, and dude, his number one thing last year, right? You want to guess what it was?
What?
Oh, yeah, you might already know.
Becoming a pro?
No, winning King of Cornhole.
Ooh.
Respect the OG, ACO. Jeremiah Ellis was the King of Cornhole in 2023. And that is his highlight of the year. He became the King of Cornhole, and the dude's a beast.
And just so everybody knows too, is that when the King of Cornhole goes and plays an ACL and becomes a pro and goes through that process, other ACL pros respect that title. Other people in that building respect that title. That's a
Yeah.
legit title.
It's not easy to get.
No.
And the guys that get it go kick ass in ACL, and you're seeing that with Jeremiah Ellis,
Right.
Top winning percentage. He is beating everybody.
And it helps him come in with confidence too. It's like you're coming in with confidence because you know you're that good, but you still have a little bit to prove it there because you're going into a new league.
That's right. That's right. But the dude is proving that he is that good. I mean, he's lost. The one open he went to almost won it. He lost to I'm forgetting his name, the second highest win record. One of the breakout players a year or two ago. He's a school teacher.
Mark Richards?
Yes. Lost to him, but it was a really long game, and Jeremiah jumped out to a big lead, but he just couldn't hold off Mark Richards. Yeah. And that's the only guy he really lost to that whole tournament. Yeah. So anyway, the shout out to Lone Star, who gave him a run for his money, scored 14 points against him. In the bracket going up to that point, nobody scored more than 10 points against him except for
Mr. Ty Thompson.
Mr. Ty Thompson got 14 on him. So,
I can't wait until Ty buckles down and takes it serious.
you think he'll do that like next year or two?
I think once he graduates school, he's going to spend a year and buckle down and focus on cornhole, and good luck.
Yeah, that kid is good. But I don't know. I mean, once you start taking something too seriously, you kind of lose the love and the passion, and you.
Yeah, but Ty is not the guy to lose love and passion. Trust me.
That's a good point. All right. I also reached out to AJ Sims, who was a friend of the show. He was on our show. and kind of went back and forth. I was like, just give me something, like a highlight of the year. And he partnered up with Braden Wilson,
There you go.
which is we talked about that in our interview about his relationship with Wilson and his parents and how strong of a talent he is. And he's a young player for those who don't know. He's like 12 or 14. He's pretty young. They're partnered up and they're going at it this year. They've already had some success at a Spencer McKenzie's. So AJ Sims highlight partnering up with Braden Wilson, which I thought was a pretty cool highlight. I also reached out to Sammy Soto, and he actually gave me some pretty funny ones off the bat, but I don't think I'm saying those. Um, he said, I guess the highlight of my career or my year would be becoming a pro. Right. So being a pro was
Yes.
his highlight. And then I should go back to Jeremiah Ellis. He also said his second thing was becoming an ACL pro, but first was King of Cornhole. But Sammy becoming a pro, but also making it on TV, being down like 11-1 and coming back to get my pro card.
Yes.
I mean, that was a huge
Yes.
comeback by
Being able to, everyone being able to witness that is huge in my opinion.
And coming back like that, showing that grit and resolve, and I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep playing, keep competing, and
Right.
winning on the big stage. And so you could always go back and watch it, but I got to see that stage live when I went there with Baron, and that is I have to imagine your nerves are super high. I mean, it's a 3/4 of an auditorium. The open side is just cameras galore and commentators. Has that big camera on a boom that's swinging above you. So literal spotlights are on you, and you got to compete. And you got to come down from 11-1 and win to get your pro card, because he had to win that to get his pro card. And he did it.
He did it. He did it, man.
He did it. What a highlight. That might
Yes.
be the highlight of like his decade.
Probably.
Well, we'll see.
No, I hope he got recorded on his TV.
Yeah, right. You save that. And then you also mentioned that, and my lemonade envies have never lost a sig.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's a highlight for him. He is him. I don't think he is him now, but he was him at the time, Justin Burton Jr. And double dipping him in the fashion he did.
Yeah.
That's a huge confidence boost for a guy like Sammy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then,
especially after he lost to him in that crazy game out in Lubbock.
Yeah, the 40-rounder, you know? So, it was cool to see Sammy step up to the plate on that one, too. But those envies are losing life, man.
They're about done?
They're just so used.
Wait, does that make them good?
There's a point where I'm saying they're losing life, where they lose that kind of hole drippiness. They lose that. They're not as friendly around the hole as they were because they're just that beat in.
So I noticed that in Shreveport. I sat down and watched a match with Sammy and Kale, and they were clinging.
Yeah,
they were hanging on the hole. So maybe I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so he's going to have to. I think the Elvis, the Phenom Elvis, he's going to get a set of those, and then that's like the Wizards. He throws an ACL, so
yeah,
it's not. It still feels like a center bag, but it's the same materials, I guess, as that Wizard. So, I mean, Sammy might throw even better.
Even better. All right. So that's Sammy. And then I reached out to the traders. Ryan and Mason Trader were on the show. For those who don't know, Ryan is definitely one of the breakout rookies. He actually is the guy that Sammy beat on the main stage.
Correct.
But Ryan Trader's already won an Open singles. So the kid's legit. So he said for his highlight, 2 big goals I set for myself this year were performing on ESPN. And he did that, although he did lose to Sammy, I guess. But he also became an ACL pro. So he brought that up as a highlight, which I'm kind of surprised because he won an ACL Open. Like he won the whole thing. But becoming a pro was a...
Well, yeah, but becoming a pro was the overall goal. Winning an Open was just a step to get to that goal, right?
Well, I guess he won the Open after he became a pro.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the Opens this year. Like I want to say it was 4 or 3, I don't know. But he already won an Open. The kid is legit. Throws fly magics, which are a lot like your greeds.
Yes.
So he's a carpetbag thrower, a block and flop, and just absolute money. Ryan Trader became a pro. So that's 3.
And by the way, to add something about that kid, he's such a humble kid.
Yeah.
He is. He's not going to tell you how good he is. He's just going to show you.
Yep. Another interesting thing, when we asked Ryan and Mason in the interview, what do you want to be when you grow up? Ryan wanted to be a cornhole pro. That was his answer.
Yeah.
Mason wanted to be I want to say a heptologist,
Some with animals, right? I thought.
Yeah, lizards. What are they called?
Oh yeah, it's
Reptiles.
reptiles. So yeah,
Yeah,
some, yeah, whatever that is.
whatever that is.
He knows more than I do.
Well, Mason gave one, a very specific one. Beating Dawson Cummings in Memphis, too easy. I don't know what that's about, but Dawson Cummings,
Pew pew.
whoever you are, shots fired. Also, I saw BG was promoting Mason Trader as a BG sponsored player, so he's a big dog now, sponsored by BG, and he plays against Ryan all the time, so he's used to playing against top level talent, and that can only make you better. So,
Right.
watch out for Mason Trader. Okay, one friend of the show, Juanito Pantoja, he told us making the finals with BG
There you go.
at a SIG series.
I mean, I think that was his first finals appearance. It was unfortunate for him
He had to go
that
against the
Sammy and Justin.
unfair. Those guys were even able to pair up.
Yeah.
How
And
did that? Oh, because Sammy was just
Sammy
he
wasn't
wasn't
a
a pro
pro at the
yet,
time, and
and they
you
didn't have
know,
elite yet.
and of course, me kind of like what I was referring to earlier, that I'm not going to play every single sig with the same person.
Yeah,
And that was the year that he was telling me, oh, every single sig we should partner up.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And then he goes and plays with Justin. So yeah, Juan and BG have a good relationship too. So I know getting that far with BG was really cool for him.
yeah. It just occurred to me that Justin and Sammy playing together, was that the catalyst to create this elite division?
Probably.
Because it wasn't really
People
close.
literally cheered when Juan and BG scored a point.
Yeah, it's kind of boring when
And I know they don't want me to bring it up, but it's like the only point they scored.
Yeah, they did. They got smoked.
Yes, because in TCL it's 2 out of 3 in
Yeah,
the finals. The first game, I don't know if they scored. Second game, they scored a point and people cheered.
and you could even kind of see it on their faces, like they're going to face the executioner.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, and then you can say that, and then you can see it on Justin and Sammy's face that they know they don't have to even it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
They know they're going to win.
Yeah. So, I guess the creation of the quote unquote elite division was a good move for sure, because that was pretty boring. One also mentioned the creation of JP3 Designs.
Yep.
Backside.
He is over here creating his own brand.
Yeah.
Good for Juan.
That's getting support.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does have some people that support him, and I'm excited to see him keep on coming out with designs and improving his skill.
Yeah. Shout out to Juanito Pantoja. And then finally on my list, I've got BG, which you have.
Yes. So BG, his highlight was in people to put some context in this. BG's been playing for like 10 years.
Yeah.
BG has been around the block when it comes to cornhole, and he said that his highlight this past year is seeing the growth of the game. More people are intrigued to play, and more people are asking questions. More people are wanting help. I've seen people pop up with wanting lessons all the time, right?
Yeah.
So BG says that's his highlight, I guess, is seeing something he's passionate about grow the way it has over the past year.
Yeah. It's grown a lot.
Yeah, people keep on saying that they think it's done growing, and I think the game is still growing a ton, but people don't see it as much because before you saw the growth through bag manufacturers, bag sales, right? Bags being sold out.
Yeah.
Now with so many bag manufacturers and so many processes created for bags to get produced at a reasonable amount of time to get out, people don't see that, so they automatically assume the game's done growing, right? That's not the case here. The game, more and more people are still playing cornhole, but they're not seeing the sellouts like they were.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to imagine how bigger it can get, right? When you see TCL filling up the entire Irving Convention Center.
Right.
Right. How much bigger can it get?
Well,
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
I guess there are bigger convention centers all over this country and the state.
And the events don't necessarily need to get bigger. They just need to create more of them.
More of them. Yeah. All right, cool, man. So the other thing that we were going to talk about with players is the Breakout Player of the Year. And I think it was Rob Price. Maybe he asked it.
Yes.
On when we were asking, hey, we're going to do an end of year show. When we did the first end of year show that was a failure of recording, but not talking about that. The Breakout Player of the Year, we did some thinking about it, quite a bit actually. And I guess, do you want to talk about the criteria, like what we decided? Like the period of time it took this player to go from starting to play to competing at the highest level.
competing at the highest level. I mean, and giving some of the best players, giving some of the best players in the Texas Cornhole League and ACL Southwest Conference a run for their money.
Yes.
This kid has. I haven't seen a kid get this good this fast in a while. Levi Haddock.
Levi Haddock, Breakout Player of the Year, Texas Cornhole Show, #1 Breakout Player of the Year.
Yes, you'll see his PPR at the top of tournaments all the time.
Yeah.
And
Second place in that Southwest Conference playing with Chase Lester. And there were legit players at that.
yes,
Right. Do you remember what teams were in there? I know there's a lot of pros.
pretty much all the pros in the Southwest Conference.
Yeah. And those guys got second.
Yes.
A couple of non-pros. One of them. So, okay, I usually don't believe it when, Ernest Monarca is still telling me he's only been playing for like a year. You know what I mean? Like people say, oh, I've only been playing and it's a short period of time, right? So a lot of times I just dismiss it as false, like
Right.
everybody. You just don't remember. And I'm guilty of it too. I was actually telling people I've only been playing for 3 years, but then I get a Facebook memory that's like 4 years ago. That's me playing cornhole, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's been longer than I remember.
At this point in time, when I give my answer, I'm like, it's like 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yeah. Well,
It's
Levi told me he's been playing for less than a year. Didn't believe him. But then I was talking to his dad, and his dad told me the whole story. Like, I think they were at an Airbnb that had some boards, and the dad was throwing, the kid came out, and then Levi, one of his buddies, plays, and boom, the rest is history. So I think it's true that the kid's only been playing for like 9 years.
9 months.
9 months, sorry, months. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's crazy talented, and and he travels far to play in all these events. Like his dad takes him everywhere to play. But yeah, this kid is super talented, and we also want to throw some honorable mentions in there too. Guys that we can make an argument for Breakout, but they just don't have the resume this kid has and the period of time he has.
Yeah.
But Chase Lester, he's really good, really good, but he took a step this year.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't say he was my breakout player was because he's been playing for longer, and he just seems to get better every single year, right? But he definitely made a big step forward. ACO Major, now he's a 2-time ACO Major champion. He is a Signature Series champion, and he's given the best players in the world. Like he gave Bearpaw fits.
Yeah,
I mean he just beat
at the Pro Qualifier too. Beat him down at the Pro Qualifier.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, his block and replace game is phenomenal.
Right. And he's got the nickname cheat code for a reason.
Yeah.
That kid can roll bags better than anybody I've seen.
Well, and some of his collects that he hit on the main stage at the SIG Series finals, there was one collect where the bag was not on his side of the hole, right? So he had to pick it up from like the other side. It was a crazy push collect bag.
So I guess to compare Chase's role to other people, his role doesn't necessarily look effortless, but he has these super long rolls that are nuts to me. Sammy is probably the most consistent roller I've seen with just these small little 1-bag rolls. But when it comes to these, 2-3 bag rolls, Chase is he's doing it like it's nothing.
Yeah. Another one I have on my list, really 2 kids out of Oklahoma, or 3 kids out of Oklahoma that caught my attention as breakout players. Kobe Alley.
Yes. Hayden Morris.
Hayden Morris is the other one, and Q Cohey.
Yes.
All 3 of those kind of came out of nowhere. Well, at least we didn't know about him. I didn't know about him.
They came out from Oklahoma, started showing up in Texas, and it took some growing pains in there. But Hayden Morris, it felt like he stepped on the scene and instantly.
Second place open singles.
Yeah, he was throwing those sloths really well to get that second place.
Yeah.
And then
he paired up with JBJ. We thought they were going to clear the table, and they didn't. And Kobe, the same thing. He got 3rd place in open singles, and then the next SIG had a performance that I'm sure he would believe or would say is substandard.
But notice with both of those guys that second SIG, they partnered up with guys that were much more talented than they were.
More experienced, have more.
So the pressure bust pipes.
They're just kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, but getting that experience, I'm sure they're going to build on it.
Yeah, you have to think both Hayden and Kobe. They were favorites. I mean, we picked them as favorites, and they did not do very well in doubles with their star counterparts.
So Q Cohey, he needs to get a good partner because he's really, really talented. And
he won tier 2 singles in the last SIG.
And you cannot mention Q Cohey without mentioning one other person, Cody Brooks.
Cody Brooks,
he hasn't had like a staple win yet at a signature series, but I'm telling you, that kid, he's good. He's really, really good.
What kind of game does he play?
He is mostly hole for hole, but he can bang some air mails. He can hit a couple little nice cut shots. But Cody Brooks is another one this year where, I mean, I can see him at this end of the year winning Breakout Player of the Year.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's that good.
Nice. And then the last guy I have on my list is Oscar Morena. I always have to include him because he's kind of like a Chase. He just keeps getting better and better and
Yes.
better, dominates his region, always performs well at these signature
He just needs to add some more tools to his bag.
Yeah.
He's just one of those one-dimensional guys for me.
Yeah, he's a slide airmail guy.
Yeah.
But he's got it. It's just his grip and bag flight is not conducive to big cuts and flops.
Right.
Which I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not expecting flops, but definitely I want to see his get around game to be better.
Yeah. You're right, because he just shoots airmails.
Right.
But he hits a lot.
No, he does.
He's got.
No.
You're right. If he could add, you would think he could at least get a reverse cut pretty quickly. And maybe he's got it. But yeah, Oscar's one that I know him personally, and we talk a bit, and I know he's working on becoming better. He competes all the time.
Learning how to throw the slow side of the bag is, I'm just going to say it over and over again. You have to. You have to have an option where you can flip the bag over and get a bigger push out of it. But always throwing a slick side, you're going to struggle to get that bigger push because you're throwing the same soft bag that you probably were before.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I know he's always working at it, and if he continues down that path, I think it's going to be pretty good.
Thick four, that's my partner, man.
Yeah, you guys are going to win it. Probably throwing Elvis's would be my guess. Have you guys talked about bag selection?
I told him to throw the dude to practice with the dude because when my believer comes out, that's the bag I want to throw with him.
Fair enough. All right. That covers it, man. Unless you want to talk about our personal highlights.
Absolutely.
Personal highlights. Well, my year sucked. I know we're supposed to keep it high, but dude, I had some rough times this year. I had a bad year overall. So I've just been trying to get by, I guess. But my cornhole highlight, I'm going to go ahead and say, was probably getting third place tier 2 open with my boy Ernest Herrera. Thanks for playing with me, Ernest. That was a good time. And that was a lot of fun for me to play. And then like personal traveling with my family. I've had create a lot of good memories with my kids. All 3 of my boys are still at home. My oldest isn't gone until next year. So I got all 3 boys at home and my wife, and we had some incredible experiences traveling around, and it was awesome.
This guy, John, goes to Disney World, right? Rides that Tron game.
Yeah.
Who hits the thinker when he's taking a picture on the Tron bike? Who hits the thinker?
So
what are you thinking about? You're on a Tron bike.
We go to Disney a lot, and once you go on a ride, the game we play is find out where the cameras are, and then it's hitting poses. And I've got a lot of poses on rides.
Yeah, but you sent me the thinker, man. This guy said.
Nailed it. By the way, the new Tron ride at Disney World is pretty incredible. Like when you walk into the area of the park, it's in Future World and Magic Kingdom. They've got the theme song blaring, and the Tron ride is like going over your head, and it looks amazing. Like they killed it. They nailed it on that ride. Some rides they open, they're okay. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot, cool. But not the Tron ride is almost worth the trip. Like if you're a fan of Tron, it's almost worth the trip just to go to Disney just for that. So yeah, that was a highlight.
Lines at stuff like that. Crazy.
Yeah. But so my wife, her hobby is Disney. So she's like the poor man's VIP experience because she knows all the tricks and she gets up early and schedules everything out. So we have lightning lanes almost every time we go, or at least it's called virtual queue. So yeah, you are going to have to wait in some lines, but it's only like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Where, dude, some of these lines, because you could look at it on the app, or you can see it when you first step up to the ride, are like 2 hours, and people are getting in the line. Like if I would see it 2 hours and be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas at Disney. That's when we were there, so it was extra crowded. So I'm not a big Disney fan. My wife loves it, so I kind of tolerate it. Just, I'd rather us spend our money doing other things for vacations.
Right.
But she lets me do my hobbies, and she does her hobbies. So we go to Disney a lot, way too much. If anybody ever wants some Disney tips, feel free to reach out. I've got lots of Disney tips.
Okay, so you're cutting yourself short though, man. You keep on doing this to me.
Yeah.
Your photography is a
Oh, yeah.
highlight, bro. You don't understand how much the cornhole community appreciates your photography
I forgot about that.
and your nature photography on top of that. You send me pictures of some pretty looking birds, you know?
Yeah, I like birds. No, that's a good point, man. It has been a highlight of my year. And so thanks to everybody out there that like lets me take pictures of them, and then I'll send you a picture and you'll use it in social media, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see my work out there, it makes me feel good. But yeah, the photography has been a lot of fun to learn. It has been a highlight of my year. Thanks for reminding me about that. I learned a lot about photography. There's not a whole lot to learn, but there are things to
Things to
learn,
learn, yes.
and I've learned a lot, and I know there's more for me to learn. But yeah, dude, the photography's badass. I actually really like that.
Yeah. I love hearing right into my backswing.
I got like so my camera, just so you know, is like last generation top like flagship. It's Canon's
Okay.
flagship last generation. So the newer generation is a little bit quieter. But yeah, I took it to my kids' volleyball game, and it was not noisy in there. And like the kids would throw the ball up to serve it, and right as they let it go, like,
Yeah.
and I was asking the parents, should I stop doing this? And most of them said, oh no, they need to learn, like,
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
distracted.
My kid's gonna be famous. They need to learn to get pictures taken of.
Oh, I wonder, I should go take pictures at an ACL event because it's so quiet. At TCL events, you say you could hear it. That's with the TCL sound.
Yeah.
At the ACL events, cornhole in a library, like, I wonder if people are going to be upset, because I do have a setting. I could take quieter pictures, but I don't get as many per second. It's a little bit quieter, but I only get, because I just let it go. You hear it, right? So I'm taking like 20 pictures a second or something. And that way I just go back and look at them, and I delete the ones that are not good and get the one that's right. Well, I could make it quieter, but I only get maybe 10 frames a second, 10 pictures a second. So
Yeah, that's not enough, right?
do you think an ACL Pro is going to get mad at me for taking pictures?
Is it Breckley Pear? Is the Pro Breckley Pear? Because yes.
I mean, maybe, because I know, like, at golf tournaments, you're not supposed to take pictures as a guy's swinging.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wait until after contact. That's the rule. You can get kicked out of a golf tournament if you're taking pictures in their backswing.
You can't yell
wonder.
jackass in the backswing.
You're not supposed to. You could get kicked out. I'm gonna have to go to an ACL event. I'm gonna go to Bryan, Texas, and take pictures and see what happens. Wonder if they're gonna get mad at me.
Probably.
But the bag season guy's there. But you know what? He's taking video,
Yeah.
and he's got a mirrorless, so it's not as loud.
Okay.
But I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing up the photography. I do dig the photography. That was definitely a personal highlight.
And I'm sure there's more in there. You just don't give yourself enough credit, man.
I had a tough year, Grant. It's hard for me to turn it into a positive.
Well, we'll go to my positive then.
Let's do it.
So, on my list of personal things I look back on this year where I'm just like, man, it's a highlight. My sister becoming a back-to-back volleyball state champion.
It's in the blood.
Yes.
Back to back.
Yep.
And she back to back to back. She graduated.
She's graduating. So yeah, she's off to college now.
Back to back.
So yeah, that was really cool to be able to go to her game and watch that and see her become a state champion. How happy that made her, and being able to celebrate with her team. And then becoming a 3-time state doubles champ for me. Sammy took my singles title, tried to fight him off, but that kid gets mad at me sometimes, and throws really, really good.
Yeah, you made it to the finals though.
Yeah, and I made sure to tell him, you better throw good, because I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't. And he beat my ass. So I didn't throw good, or no, I did. He threw better. And then going out at ACL Worlds, getting second place in advanced singles. Do I wish I won it all? Absolutely. If they kept on serving me the alcohol beverage I wanted, I think I would have won it.
Wait, what was it specifically?
It was the new Monster alcoholic drink. There's no caffeine or anything in it, but it's a 6% drink that I can just sit there and sip on while I play. And man, it put me in the groove. I just felt it.
That's what happens when you go to the end of a tournament. The bars start shutting down.
Yeah,
everybody leaves.
Made me so mad, man. But
And you
they
didn't
did it
have
on
your
purpose.
drink.
Yeah, didn't have my drink. I drank it Truly.
Who's the name of the kid that won it? Do you remember? Because I think he's becoming kind of popular. Like he's making
He's
little
good.
bit of
He's
some
really good.
noise.
man, who was that kid? I forget. But yeah, I forget. He's really good though.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing that and seeing that, hey, I can still, am I putting in the effort that I was before as a cornhole player? No, but I am still. When you put me in a situation where I can just go focus on being a cornhole player, I can still be that guy. So that was pretty cool. Um, and then that same ACL Worlds, getting to sit there and watch Sammy become a pro was really cool. Being able to sit behind that board and see the TV timeout come across, because he was getting beat up on, and then see that TV timeout come across and him be able to set those bags down and kind of just gather himself, refocus, and come back and win. That was electrifying for me to watch.
So where were you sitting in the venue?
Um, Back behind, so
You were behind the boards?
yeah, but I was like deeper back. Like I didn't have any interest being on the camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was sitting back there and I was quiet as a mouse, man. Just watching, just nervous, right?
Yeah.
And I had a guy, and most of those guys kind of know my relationship with Sammy. So one of them turned around and said, "You nervous?" I was like, "Can you tell?"
Yeah.
Because I wasn't saying a word, right? And then I had this guy next to me that was cheering on Ryan Trader, which is fine. But every time Brian did something, nice. And I hated the way you said it. I hated it, bro. It was driving me up a wall. Nice. All right, man. So that was really cool. Me and Sammy becoming back-to-back world champions in doubles at that same ACL Worlds. That was really cool. Um, you know, Sammy and I think Sammy and I are each other's best partners. No disrespect to BG, but me and Sammy I just feel like are on a different level when we're playing together, and I think we've proved that. So that's really cool. Um, yeah, that's kind of my cornhole and slash sister highlights of the year.
Do you think that TCL is going to have like an open where you guys can play together in TCL? Is that
Um,
happening? I've heard rumors about like an elite division.
and if TCL ends up doing an elite division, I'm curious to see what ACL does over the next 6 to 8 months. But if TCL does that elite division, I'm curious on how they structure that. Is that going to be a pros can it's not a pro league, so there's no way pros are going to be able to play together. But a pro elite player, can they
Yeah.
match up together?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how that kind of goes. So it would be cool to be able to run some tournaments with Sammy again.
Yeah.
Because I want to play an ACL Open with him, but I just don't see myself being able to go out there and spend that time doing that. So
Well, you're going to choose TCL for this upcoming one?
yeah, I am. I chose TCL on this upcoming one.
Oh, okay.
But and then I've done this once before, like I said on our failure of last recording.
Yes.
But I do appreciate you over this last year, man. I feel like you and I in our working relationship and friendship have just grown over this past year, and you pushed me to become. You're not afraid to give me a B minus.
I'll give you a C plus, B minus.
Yeah.
You gotta respect the B minus, bro. I've had B minuses that I was like stoked to get a B minus.
No, and
like,
I understand that, but
B minuses are pretty good.
But yeah, you push me to be better all around when it comes to that stuff, and then there's times where I want to lay the hammer down on social media, or I want to do something stupid, and you'll talk me out of it, and you'll bring me back down. So again, over this past year, really appreciate our working relationship. Hopefully, we continue to keep it going, and we'll see what we can keep on making.
I appreciate that a lot. And likewise, the feeling's mutual. I'm looking forward to the next year, 2024. It's gonna be cool, man. I'm sure we don't even know what we're gonna do, right? Something's gonna happen next year. It's gonna be cool.
There's gonna be a day I walk in here and I say I'll throw this idea out there.
Yeah.
And we're going to do some crazy stuff. We're already starting to add some stuff to the show, doing the draft and stuff.
Yep.
I know there's mixed reviews on it, but we started it. We're going to keep on improving on it and seeing what we can do.
The draft is cool, man. The mixed reviews are. I mean, who cares if people don't like it? They don't have to watch, right?
Right.
But yeah, with this show and the live feed getting better, and just AJ's in general getting better, the bag business. There's a shop right there. We can always crank out bags if we need to. It's gonna be a fun year. 2024 is gonna be badass.
What I'm looking forward to is
you're gonna team up with me in Sig 2, I think. That's a joke.
Wait. What I'm looking forward to is with my current situation and how things have kind of changed, center cornhole being more of a thing I do for fun. I think is going to elevate center cornhole. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of it. And I'm thinking I'm going to be able to throw some ideas out there where I'm not afraid to fail on it because, again, it's for fun.
Yeah,
I'm doing it because I'm enjoying doing it. So I think over this next year, we're going to see center cornhole do some really crazy things.
that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do.
Big D will be back.
Big D, Big D's here, man. Good news, boys.
Big D will be back.
Big D didn't go anywhere. Although it is kind of interesting, like once I kind of said this is the last shipment for TCL, like I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen. It was an interesting experiment. I didn't know if those bags were going to sell because it was like the last bags I made, or if they were going to sit, and they're sitting. And I didn't know which way it was going to go. You know what I
They're
mean?
sitting?
I think so. I don't think they're selling. I know the
Okay.
Viper R clone, the Dude R. I know those sold out.
Oh yeah, but that bag was a really good bag.
That bag's my best bag.
Right. The other bags have kind of been out for a little while, right?
Yeah, but I mean that last run is fucking good. Like I made sure they were good. I'm like, this is the last TCL run. They're so good. Those Bandit
Yeah.
Queens are legit.
Yeah.
But
The
it just
Bandit
goes
Queen
to
is legit.
it just goes to show that that presence, being at the SIG events, sponsoring players, all that extra work that is above and beyond just making the bags is really what drives sales.
Right.
What it seems like.
I agree with you. Yeah. Your bags are really good bags. I don't think they'll sit on the shelves for long by any means. So
Well, they're still there. And Big D's not going anywhere. So yeah, check them out, especially that last run of Bandit Queens. They're gas.
hey, remember here in the next month or two, me and Chase are gonna be going to a ACO major.
Oh, that's right. We got to figure out what bags you want me to make for you.
I'd imagine the Bandit Queen.
Cause I gotta submit them. No, I'll make special bags just for you guys. Is there something particular that you want?
Probably Elvis, I would imagine.
The Elvis
We'll
bag?
do some Elvis.
So
yeah.
I'm already planning on, the Elvis bag will be there. There'll be like a Greed like bag. There'll be there'll be a bunch of new bags in ACO out of Big D. So we'll see what you all like.
Yeah, but me and Chase's plan is definitely to block and do our things from there.
The
So
block and flop.
not flop for me, block and airmail for me.
Oh, he's a
but-
block and collect. He likes the great bag, which is like
Oh, yeah,
it's a
yeah.
deadhead. It's a big
I don't
floppy
think I've thrown
deadhead.
that. Yeah. So
You don't like the template. The corners are too pointy.
Yeah, I'm not a pointy corner guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're kind of meandering about. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year coming up. I hope you have some great New Year's resolutions. Every year can be a new beginning if you want to. I know there's some people having some tough times out there, but every day is a new day. Every year is a new year. You can always choose to better yourself every single day. And next year is going to be badass. Here's the
Yeah.
2024.
Here's the 2024. And remember, it's just a game.